Hello friends, welcome to the Winter Fun Checklist video tutorial. So we are going to be making this very fun little checklist that you can actually hang up. And now obviously with a checklist you normally check things off, but in this case what we're going to be doing is actually making like little drawings and illustrations to go along with all of these items on the checklist. So this is the Winter Fun Checklist. We have build a snowman, catch a snowflake, share kindness with others, wear mittens, sit next to a cozy fire, and share love with family and friends. So I thought that was really fun. So what we're gonna do here, very first thing, is we have all of these different things on here. We need to actually cut them up into little individual strips because we're gonna be making a little scene on each one of these little, your little music sheet, little squares here, all right? So here we go. What we're gonna do is just take a pair of scissors and I'm gonna cut straight across, just like that. And I'm gonna do that for each one of our little sayings here. Now, if you are noticing, there are only 6 squares, and I believe that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. So there will be one square that will have 2 items on it. So you might want to think about for yours which one you're going to put 2 on. I'm probably going to do the build a snowman and catch a snowflake together because I think that will just partner really nicely together. So when you look at your little pieces of paper here, you probably see that one side has more space on it than the other side. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this into like a little flag or like a little chevron. So I'm gonna go from the corner here and I'm gonna cut in halfway. And when I say halfway, I mean halfway this direction, and then I'm gonna go from the corner to the halfway point again, and that's gonna create this little flag or this little banner or the little chevron, kind of depends on whatever you call that. I call it all of those things. So I'm gonna do that with all of my pieces here. I'm gonna make those little chevron, little cutouts. All right. So this is a really fun little craft, especially when it's been snowing outside and you're like feeling in a kind of a cozy mood and you're like, I'm looking for kind of a fun activity to do. You can walk over to your Winter Fun Checklist and see if there's something that maybe you haven't done yet. I don't know about you guys, but whenever it snows, my first thing I always want to do is build a snowman. Yes, that is my favorite thing to do. I just love it so much. But you know, there's lots of other things you can do. Share kindness with others is another fun thing I like to do. I love to bake pretzels, like giant pretzels, or cookies for my neighbors and deliver them. So much fun. Catch a snowflake, obviously. I know the classic catch a snowflake on your tongue is like almost impossible to do. I always like to catch snowflakes on my dark gloves and then see what kind of small snowflake shapes I can see. Oh, it's just so much fun. Okay, so now that we have all of our little sayings cut out, we have our ribbon here, and this is what we're going to actually be attaching all of our little squares to. So if you have double-sided tape, hopefully you do, because it's a very important part, that is going to be what we're going to need. So we're going to grab that out. I'm going to use 1/4-inch double-sided tape for this. So on the back of each of your little squares here, I'm going to put my little flags to the side for a moment. On the back side, so you can decide which is the front, which is the back, you want to make sure that your music sheets are upright, okay? And then we're going to be putting a little piece of tape right down the center like so. So this is double-sided tape, which means that you press it down, there's a film that peels off the backside, and then this is sticky. So this is going to be actually at the top. So before I stick this on, actually tie a loop at the top, so then that way I can hang up my Winter Fun Checklist. So I'm going to tie a little overhand loop at the top there, and now I'm going to stick this on kind of close to the top a little bit, and right onto that double-sided tape, and it's just going to stay in place just like that. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to do that with all of my squares. All right, so it's probably going to be easiest, honestly, to put all of the double-sided tape down first and then go back and stick everything in place. That's my recommendation. But of course you can do whatever way you would like, but that's my guide. All right, then we have this one. Oh, that was just a tiny bit long, but I think it'll be okay. This guy, and one more. All right. Okay, so now we're going to peel all of the film off. Now when I stick my individual squares together, I would say that I'm going to probably do maybe about 1/2 inch between each one because I want them to all fit onto my ribbon. I might even recommend laying them out on your ribbon. I know how far I need to go for each of mine, but you might want to lay them all out on your ribbon ahead of time, so that way you know that you will have enough space, because if you don't have enough space, you have to peel that all up and you're going to have to start all over. All right. Okay, and my next one. Oops. Oh gosh. All right. I love this metallic ribbon. I honestly don't really know what color to call this. I might call it champagne color because it is not really gold, but it's also not really silver, but it goes great with gold and silver. So that's kind of cool, and I really like that. Okay, so once we get down to our last little square here, we are going to stick that in place, and at the very bottom we are going to be hanging our jingle bell at the very bottom. So I'm not going to stick that on quite yet because we're going to come back to that at the very end, but don't trim this off because we're going to need that little tail on the end. Okay, all right, so now we're going to go back up here at the top. So this is the part where it's the winter fun checklist part. So in your little kit we have these little circles, and those are going to stay in place. I'm going to just use double-sided tape, but you can use white glue if you'd like. Okay, so we are going to be putting our circle on that top square, and you're going to want to use white glue, and I'm just going to use a very small amount of white glue because if you use too much of the white glue, you get the warping that happens in your paper. So I just need it enough to stay in place. So this is a very fine applicator tool for putting down just a few little dots, tiny, tiny, tiny dots of glue right on the little edges there. And I'm going to stick that in place. And then this is my title, the Winter Fun Checklist. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick that right across there. Let's see here. I kind of wanted to do it kind of at a fun angle just because that's more exciting. So I'm going to kind of do this at kind of like this angle, like so. All right. Okay. Then the next one, we have to decide what we're going to do for each one of our little squares there. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this up. Just going to kind of accordion fold it and set that to the side because we have to create all of our little scenes on each little circle. So at this point you can either grab a black pen or a gold pen, it doesn't really matter, or you can do a combination of both. If you have a gold pen laying around, it's a little bit more fun, but a black pen is totally fine. So remember I mentioned that there are only 5 of the little squares left, and there are actually 6 little flags. So you're gonna need to combine a couple. I'm gonna combine Catch a Snowflake and Build a Snowman. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the bottom of each of these, and I'm going to kind of offset them, so that way you can draw a little snowman and put a little snowflake next to it. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on the back side of this little banner. It's gonna hang off the edge a little bit, but that's totally fine because again, they're gonna be glued onto our little squares here in just a moment. All right, so I have Build a Snowman and Catch a Snowflake. So I'm going to start out by, of course, drawing a cute little snowman. So this is kind of where you get kind of the creativity gets to kind of play, is that you get to draw your own version of a little snowman or your own little snowflake. So I'm going to draw a little snowman with his little stick arms, so cute, and then his cute little eyes and his carrot nose and his adorable little mouth. And we'll give him some buttons on the front. All right, and then my snowflake, I am actually going to do probably more than one snowflake because I can't just draw one snowflake. It has to be more fun than that. My snowflake is not perfect, but that is okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right. Okay. I'll do some little dots to make it look more fun. Okay. All right, so we have our first one, Build a Snowman and Catch a Snowflake. So cute. All right, our next one, we have Sit Next to a Cozy Fire. Of course, who doesn't want to sit next to a cozy fire? In the wintertime, it gets so chilly around here. We all want to sit next to a cozy fire. So I'm just going to draw like a little log with some little lines in it, and then some flames. Let's see if I can get the right flame shape. Sometimes it's fun to draw flames. Sometimes I'm not as skilled at drawing flames, but that is all right. Well, that's not so bad. Now, of course, if you're drawing these and you're like, oh gosh, I really wish I could color, you could absolutely color on this paper, but you're gonna wanna probably use colored pencils. I wouldn't really recommend markers for drawing on this paper because it's a really lightweight paper. It will bleed through. All right, the next one we have Share Kindness with Others. Oh, how perfect. Now that would have to be that's kind of a hard one to draw. So we would want to think of something that maybe is a little bit more like a symbol. So we have Share Kindness with Others. I think what I'm gonna do for that one is I'm gonna draw like some stars. Because you know, when you share kindness with others, you kind of help other people feel like a star. And I think that's really, really special. You know, you make people feel good, make them feel loved. All right, so we're gonna draw some stars, or maybe you wanna draw like some smiley faces, or maybe you're really skilled artist and you wanna draw sharing something with others. Maybe you wanna draw some cookies because you're baking cookies for other people. That's what I really like to do. All right, our next one is Wear Mittens. Yes, I love wearing mittens. I actually don't think I currently own a set of mittens because for whatever reason, once a year, I always lose a mitten or glove. So, which is never fun. So I will draw one mitten as to represent how many mittens I usually end up with at the end of the season, which is one, because I always end up losing one. That's fun. Okay, and that's not the best shape for a mitten, but you know what? You guys know what it's supposed to be. I'm gonna draw a little snowflake on my mitten just to show that it has a decorative little design on it. Yes, yes, yes. I'll draw some little sparkle stars on the side. All right, very fun. There we have wear mittens. And then our last one says share love with family and friends. So this is another one where you maybe need to draw like a little symbol or something to kind of represent that. So I'm gonna go ahead and of course draw some hearts because it's about sharing love. And I'm probably gonna draw a big heart and some little hearts all the way around. And I like to do these little shine marks around the heart just to make it look more fun. Okay, all right, so now that we have all of our little circles with our little illustrations created, now we are going to finish putting them on our checklist. So again, we have our bell, which we're gonna come back to just momentarily. So we wanna make sure that we're doing this on the right side, because the other side, of course, has the ribbon on it. And we are just gonna use some white glue here to just glue all of our little symbols in place. So again, I'm just putting a tiny little bit of glue on the back side of each one, not a lot, just enough to stick it in place. And I have build a snowman and catch a snowflake, then share kindness with others next. Then let's see, I think sit next to a cozy fire is next on the list. And wear mittens because they're cozy warm. And of course, share love with family and friends. I'm gonna do that one last because that's, I think, one of my favorite parts. Yes. All right, then at the very end here with our ribbon, you're gonna wanna grab your scissors and you wanna cut to the end so it's kind of at a point. So hopefully you have nice sharp scissors for that purpose. And what we're going to do is we're gonna put that point through the top of our bell here where there's the little spot for the little hole there so we can string a little ribbon or twine. We're gonna put that through there. It's gonna be a little finicky, but I bet we can do it. Oh goodness, we were not able to do it. Well, that's okay. I have another idea. We're gonna bend this in half. We're gonna fold this in half and then we're gonna cut it to a point again. We're gonna get through this, friends. Okay, I'm gonna bring this actually to a much finer point. I'm gonna kind of, there we are. This is an interesting kind of ribbon. It will kind of cinch together like that. There we go. Then we can string on our little bell. Very cute. And then I'm going to tie it into a little knot at the very bottom. And if you have enough space to do a double knot, I would probably recommend a double knot. And there we have our cute little jingle bell. I'm gonna trim off that little tail because it's not necessary. And there we have our winter fun checklist. Oh my gosh, it is so fun and so cute. And what's really great about it is you can hang this up, but then so that way you can see all the fun things you want to do for the winter. But then you can fold it up like so, and then you can store it away for the winter time or for the summertime or whatever other season. And then when the winter comes or the snow starts falling from the sky, you can hang up your winter fun checklist, and that will last through the entire snowy season. Yay! Very, very fun. All right, friends, thanks for joining me for Make and Take. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.